Yo, Counter Attack Podcast with myself, Daps. Guys, listen, man. I've got it on today, but you know what? We're going to get into all of that. We're going to get into it. I think, first, as always, like, subscribe, share, all of that good stuff. Just going to get into some admin, some church announcements and all of that. So I think we're going to start by saying my documentary, Son of the Soil, is actually out now on the Counter Attack YouTube. Love to those of you who have actually seen it. Love to everyone who's actually commented and reposted it and everything. If you're listening audio-wise and you're not really a regular on my YouTube, then go and check out on my YouTube, Counter Attack Podcast YouTube, Son of the Soil, my documentary showing when I went back to Nigeria to a club that I played for in the Nigerian Premier League, in case some of you don't know that I actually did play football before. And we can just get the numbers up and engage and just share it. I'm trying to get it picked up. I'm trying to get it, on, or BBC or whatever. So yeah, let's keep running that up, guys, man. It's on the YouTube channel. Just go check it out. But also, what else? Keep liking, subscribing, sharing. In the comments, as always, let me know who you want me to get on the podcast, because the guests are going to start flowing. Because I know some of you are getting used to this, just me business, but no, don't get used to it, because the guests were going to start coming back and everything. Pardon me. Right. Where do I start? Yeah, you know what? This ain't going to be one of those podcasts where I'm impartial. So if you don't want to hear, forget that. Listen, I'm happy today, man. I'm happy. It's been a big weekend of Premier League football, man. Between the Manchester derby, the North London derby, there's been a lot at stake, and it's been almost the perfect weekend for Arsenal in regards to results-wise. And I'm going to start off with the North London derby. So, obviously, yesterday now, United lost. United beat Man City 2-1 at Old Trafford. And I'm not going to talk about that game yet, but it just meant that it was important for Arsenal to really seize the opportunity to go 8 points clear. In this league, with City chasing you, you have to. Oh, it's ripped. That's gonna really annoy me. But yeah, in this league, you have to really take the chances you can, because I think I've said this on another podcast before. If there was any other team chasing us in the Premier League right now, I'd think we're going to win this league. But because it's City and City have the capabilities of literally going unbeaten to the end of the season, I'm literally on that one game at a time thing, But guys, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I can't believe this is Arsenal as we know it. I can't believe after 10 games, I was just like, one game at a time, it could change. 15 games, one game at a time, it can change. We're halfway through the season and we are 8 points in front of Man City. And at this point, whether you want to admit it or not, we are in a title race. I think you can't do anything but take it a game at a time, because it is such a long season. But we're in such a good position to go on and do something. And I'm going to talk about today's game. So the tough thing about North London derbies is that form goes out of the window. I know that's a cliche thing to say, but all form is out of the window with these derbies. And we've seen over the years where Arsenal will be on good form, Tottenham will just come and just do what they do. we've also seen when Tottenham might be in good form and Arsenal just come and get them out of it. Like last year when they came to Emirates and we beat them 3-0. So I think going into today's game, I was a bit more on edge than I usually am. Because normally I'm just like, I just need Arsenal to just get this, get this over the line or whatever. But today, because of what was riding on this game, I was a bit on edge. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because we all know that when we go to Tottenham in recent years, things just, last year, Rob Holding, something like that would just, him getting sent off or whatever. So I don't know, you just never know. But I'm not gonna lie to you. The moment the starting lineups came out, I thought to myself, nah, Arsenal have got this. We probably played our strongest team bar Jesus, obviously, but obviously Nketiah is in good form. But when I saw their team and I saw Sarr in midfield, inexperienced at this level, inexperienced in the Premier League, and I saw, this is the big one, when I saw Sessegnon, I thought to myself, what is happening here? Why is Sessegnon playing ahead of Perisic? In these big games, you'd think Conte would go with the guys that he knows he can just go to the trenches with, guys that he knows can put in a performance and whatever. And I was just really surprised that Perisic didn't start that match. And it's funny because Tottenham start slow, but the first 10 minutes of this game, they actually started quite well, and they were actually like doing bits and everything. But I think once Arsenal started to settle down and control possession, that first half, honestly, it's as good as a first half as you'll see this season. Probably our best first half, and that's just off the top of my head, because some of the patterns of play that we're doing right now, from back to front, everyone just looks like they know what they're doing. And it is so fluid. Everyone is comfortable. Everyone has the option. Everyone just wants to, but it's not like a hot potato thing. Do you know what I mean? Everyone has a clear picture in their mind of how we want to play. We all know the relationships that we have with each other. Like it's just so good to see. And that first half, what compounded it for me was Saka. If I'm being totally honest, I think Saka up against Sessegnon, I think Conte is probably going to be in his bed right now just thinking to himself, why did he do that? Why did he pick Sessegnon over Perisic? Because, and it's funny, but I don't like doing the comparison thing, but me and my boys in one of my group chats, we always talk about Foden, Saka, and Foden being seen as this generational talent, and Saka just being seen as like a good player. And I'm of the opinion that Saka isn't a generational player. Very, very, very good player with all the potential in the world. And I think he's actually a better player than Saka in terms of ability and whatever. But in regards to straight up who is effective, who affects games, Saka he's unreal. He's unreal, and he gave Sessegnon a torrid time in that first half. He had him on toast, and his IQ in regards to when to dribble, when to just pass it off, when to cross. Do you know what I mean? It's unreal, man. And honestly, if he is top 5 players in the Premier League right now, and I understand that I might be biased as an Arsenal player, but honestly, I don't see 5 players better than him in the Premier League right now. No way. Like, and his output is his end product. Do you know what I mean? Just his overall game is just one of a player who is much older than he is. Do you know what I mean? We're seeing it week in, week out, and this is what we wanted to see. It's not just inconsistent anymore. It's consistent burning of defenders. It's consistent he's consistently having an impact. And yeah, he's that first half, obviously his cross or cross shot or whatever, I'm giving that to him in it. It came off Lloris. Lloris, you know what? Lloris, yeah. It's mad though, because everyone can see that Lloris is past it. Everyone can see that Lloris has bare mistakes, but It's like we'll just forget every couple of weeks until he does it again. Do you get what I'm saying? And I can't see him being Tottenham goalkeeper next season. This is last year. I don't know. Maybe it's his last year, but yeah, his mistakes are it's becoming too much. It's becoming there's too many mistakes happening in it, and yeah. So after that first goal's gone in, I'm looking at Tottenham and I'm like, Tottenham just looks so defeated. Tottenham just looked so defeated. Arsenal just looked in total control, and Arsenal just looked like a team that is just levels above. You see how years gone by, even now, City just dominate games, and teams just don't have an answer for it. That was us today. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're looking around at Tottenham, and I think the worrying thing about Tottenham is that there's no one there bar Kane who can, and Kulusevski. But even in that first half, he didn't do anything. There's no one there who can really change things or who could get a grip of the game. No one. You've got Romero making things much worse and diving into tackles. And how he stayed on that pitch today, I don't know. I don't know how he stayed on that pitch. But yeah, he was just all over the place today. He had Longley. I don't know what Longley is. I can't believe Longley is even... I don't know what they see in him. Do you know what I mean? And Højbjerg, Sarr, you know what? And I felt sorry for Sarr. The reason why I felt sorry for Sarr is because he's young, inexperienced at that level, and he got thrown in today, and he just looked like he wasn't ready. He looked like he wasn't ready. Tottenham's midfield looked very light. So it was Højbjerg. It's two in it, yeah. So Højbjerg, Sarr. I'm missing someone out, but it will come. Actually, I'm not even missing anyone. Them two in the middle just got overrun and just got outplayed by Partey, Xhaka, and Odegaard. Like, it was, and oh my gosh. Listen, the way Arsenal play, yeah, so in the middle, you're going to have Xhaka, you're going to have Partey, you're going to have Odegaard. Against Sarr and Højbjerg, it was just unfair. And what didn't help, and Ramsdale got man in the match, but you see Zinchenko, yeah? Zinchenko, he just created a crazy overload. That guy is playing however many positions in one go. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, Sarr and Højbjerg were struggling to keep up with Xhaka, Partey, Odegaard, trying to lock down Odegaard, but then you've got Zinchenko just popping up and controlling things from left back, coming into centre midfield, controlling things again, setting the tempo. And he just complements our style of plays like to a T, and he is one of the buyers of the season. Zinchenko is one of the buyers of the season. I can't believe Man City let go of him. Technically, crazy baller. Do you know what I mean? I call him the Ukrainian Kimmich. The Ukrainian Kimmich is just, he'll give you 65 to 70 minutes of his best work. After that, I can't lie. Once he gets tired, you might as well put Andre Santos there. Because when he gets tired, everything just goes out the window. But then we've got Kieran Tierney. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think Zinchenko was levels today. He was playing at such a high level. And I think in regards to the way Arteta wants to play, Zinchenko is the guy for that system. It's like he knows it down to a T. He is the perfect player to be in that system. And yeah, he played outstanding today. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think what I'm also impressed with, if we're talking about that game, is the second half we knew that Tottenham were going to come out and, you know, try and get their comeback and whatever. And this is what I've been saying about Tottenham. Tottenham start slow. They concede goals, 1-2 goals, and then they come back. They've been called the comeback specialists of this season. But you can do that against smaller teams. You can't do that against the bigger teams. You can't do that against the teams with real quality. And even when they come back against smaller teams, they're just about coming back. Just about coming back. And, you know, Arsenal did well. And Ramsdale, in that second half especially, he made a couple big saves. That one from Sessegnon, massive save. And And if Arsenal are going to go on and win the league, you need a good goalkeeper behind you. You need a good goalkeeper in behind that defence. And Aaron Ramsdale, he's on his way to becoming England's number one. I'm sure of it. I think by the end of this year, he'll probably be England's number one. I think what he's growing into. When he came to Arsenal, he had a couple good games. We could see the potential was there. Whereas now he's actually growing into a more rounded keeper in regards to like his takes from corners and free kicks. He's coming out and he's commanding the box. Do you get what I'm saying? And he's settling it down. And, you know, we didn't really talk not much has been said about Gabriel and Saliba in front of him today. And even though Saliba over the last couple of weeks since the World Cup hasn't quite looked the same, you can tell that he's getting back to it. So he spent a couple of weeks not playing because he went to the World Cup, obviously didn't play. But you can see he's slowly getting back up to speed. And today, he looked back to his old self. Gabriel, honestly, man, he's different quality. And I think people should praise Gabriel more than they actually do. And I think this season, Gabriel's performances have gone under the radar. And I remember early on in the season, people were talking about Gabriel like he's a weak link. And I don't like that. I didn't like it then. And if you go through my tweets, search my tweets, you'll see that I absolutely did not like that. And Gabriel, honestly, for me, he has been the outstanding centre-back in our team. Saliba gets all the plaudits, but Gabriel is the one who's been the better player. Even when Saliba's looked out of sorts, Gabriel has carried him through like some of them games, and he's becoming a real leader in the back. He's becoming one of the Premier League's best defenders. I'm not going to say he's the best defender now. Let me just see how it goes. And between the both of them, honestly, that's some partnership. And if we can get good backup to them, then we'll just be, you know, in good stead for the future. And what I'm also going to say is an honourable shout out to Thomas Partey. I think Thomas Partey is probably Arsenal's most important player. I think what he does in that midfield, Thomas Partey, he breaks up play, but not only that, his passes are so progressive and he's always trying to look forward. And I didn't like how he was playing in the first 10 minutes. He was sloppy. He looked a bit off it. Like I was thinking, Thomas Partey, you got to wake up. But as the half went on, he just grew into it and he just started to control it. Absolutely, he's on his way to becoming a world-class player. I'm not going to say he's world-class now because he's not, but he's on his way to doing it. And like I said, he allows Odegaard to receive the passes in, like you can see when he gets the ball, he's always trying to find that pass into Odegaard in them spaces. And I know this is very Arsenal heavy. I'm going to come off Arsenal in a bit, but just no, we're going to talk about them for now. So he's always looking for Odegaard. He's always trying to do them little round the corner passes to Odegaard and let Odegaard go and do what he needs to do. But he's just operating on a different level as well. And I can't say enough good things about Thomas Partey. I think Arsenal do need to find a good understudy for him, because what he does, we don't have a player that can do that right now. And right now in the league, he's up there, like the top three defensive midfielders in the league right now is Partey, Casemiro, and Rodri, in no particular order. And don't know, where would you rank them? That's actually an interesting question. Where would you rank Partey, Casemiro, and Rodri? Where would you rank them right now? That's actually a good question, because I know what I would do if I'm going to rank them. Casemiro is first. I think I'd go Rodri, and then Partey. And I love Partey, and Partey is doing bits, but yeah, Casemiro, Rodri, and then Partey. That's my three. You in the comments, let me know what you think, and yeah, we just keep that moving. But honourable shout out to Odegaard as well. He's really stepped up. They've given him the captain's armband, and he's putting in captain's performances week in, week out. We knew he had the quality. We knew he had the potential. But now, if ever giving an armband to someone has made them step up, it's Odegaard. Because before, he would be in and out of matches. He needed the time to settle in and whatever. But you can actually see he's leading by his performances now. He's leading with his performances, sorry. And again, today, there were times where he would have picked up that ball and looked for the pass, but no, he's trying to shoot. He's getting more goals. He's getting more assists. And his goals and assist contribution this season is out of the world. And it's no coincidence that he got last month's Player of the Month award, because he's been outstanding again. So yeah, shout out Arsenal. Everyone played their part today. I'm just really happy. North London derby, Arsenal extend their lead to 8 points. You know what? Let me try to find what Gary Neville was saying something. Gary Neville was saying something about Arsenal. One second. Let me see. On the Gary Neville podcast, let me just say, yeah, you see Gary Neville, yeah, he's very bitter when it comes to Arsenal. He's very bitter. I don't like his commentary. His commentary is very much like, only when you absolutely necessary and obvious will you praise Arsenal. Arsenal will do something right, he'll be like, but the other team should have done better. Do you know what I mean? And I don't really like that. So let me find what it is. Yeah, no, Gary Neville just does this thing where he just cannot give Arsenal praise. And even in his commentary or his punditry after the game, there's very much this air of, but let's just wait and see, and that's fair, but come on, just give some sort of praise. Instead, he's always like, there's a long way to go, and blah, 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 blah. Listen, is it me and there's a part I'm actually looking for, but I couldn't actually find it properly. But just listen to his take.
Judging it simply because we've got our calendar out of kilter. There is a long way to go, isn't there?
Such a long way to go, Martin. We could have been in a position today if Tottenham had have beaten Arsenal and Manchester United win against Crystal Palace on Wednesday and beat Arsenal next week. Manchester United could have been level with Arsenal. I mean, it's ridiculous that. Can't believe that could have happened. Arsenal have won here today and won really well. But that just tells you what's going to happen in this next month or so. I mean, your calendar will look like mine. There's so many matches that have been put in over this next 4 or 5 weeks. I've never known a January and a February so packed with fixtures, which is great. And we know why, because the World Cup, obviously the passing of the Queen, has meant that there's been this sort of, if you like...
Mate. There's all this talking going on. All of this talking going on about... Mate, just give Arsenal the praise that we deserve, please, because... Yeah, just give Arsenal the praise that we deserve, because it's... I'm tired of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just, on commentary today, like, we get you hate Arsenal, we get it, but at least give us some sort of praise. And what I will actually say, just to round up that whole Arsenal stuff, is I find it honestly weird talking about, like, when I see people praising Arsenal, when I see people, like Conte was saying that Arsenal know when to hit on the attack, but they also know how to suffer, and they do the suffering part of it really well, like we had to do in the second half today. And when teams do that, when teams are able to do that, like, it means they're ready, and Arsenal are ready to challenge for the... Like, I find it so weird, people talking about Arsenal like this, because it's been such a long time. And what I will say as well is that, moving on from that in a bit, Arsenal missed out on Mudryk here. And the thing about missing out on that, what I didn't like, and I don't know how good Mudryk is. I don't know. I just know that's the guy that has been touted as the next signing. He's been doing the most to try and get a move to Arsenal and whatnot. But I'm seeing... Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I've seen a lot of people talk about Edu out. And I'm like, why are we so reactionary At the end of the day now, yeah, I think Yannick Bolasie even said it. At the end of the day, Arsenal did what they were supposed to be doing. Yes, it would have been nice if they wrapped it up quickly, but that deal was going to get done. It was getting over the line. Things were progressing. You can't like negate for, or you can't account for Chelsea just coming and just blowing and just dropping money. Do you know what I mean? And Chelsea are doing this. They're just buying outrageous. I mean, they're just spending outrageous sums of money on all of these players, and they're not doing no scouting. They're just going to hijacking deals and just dropping money in it. And I don't think it's a case of Edu out. Edu, like, it's, I don't know, man. It's that's me personally. The whole Edu out thing. I don't really like it. I don't think it's, you know, like, I get there's been times where you want him to get deals done over the line and it hasn't been done. But you also have to look at the deals that have been getting done. Because when we got Jesus over the line, when we got Zinchenko over the line very quickly, no one was complaining. Everyone was just like, "Oh, Edu, you're doing what you're doing what you need to be doing and stuff." Innit? We've got Vieira, and it was, so let's just stop all of this Arsenal fans like Edu. Like, let's just see where we're at the end of the transfer window and go from there. Because I'm tired of all of this chat and all this outrage. Let's just see where we're at right now. If at the end of the January transfer window, nothing's been done and whatever, then you can be like, "Oh, do you know what? That was a bit disappointing," or whatever. But let's just wait for the transfer window to be done first. Cool. Right. Manchester United and Man City. So the big talking point in that game, sorry, the big talking point in that game was Rashford offside. And when I first saw it, immediately I said it's not offside because of the rules. But I know that should be given offside. But obviously the rules say if he doesn't touch it, then Bruno can, and I knew that would happen. The moment he left that pass and Bruno hit it, I knew it was going to be given as a goal. But there's no way, if we're really being serious, that has to be given as offside. Do you get what I'm saying? And in such a big match where there's so much at stake, you have to give that as offside. And these decisions, you know, I don't know who makes these decisions, but they waste so much time changing the rules, and they waste so much time, you know, creating new, you know, loopholes or whatever. I don't know, that it just messes things up. That should just be given offside, plain and simple. And away from that, you know, Rashford as well, scoring again. Rashford's on fire right now. And it just goes to show, like, let players go through that whole growing. Let players go through the ups and downs that players are supposed to have, because in this day and age, you're not allowed to have bad games. You're not allowed to go through rough patches, isn't it? And Rashford went through one. Some might say it lasted a bit too long, but he's come out the other side now, and you know, he's showing everyone what he can really do and what he can really, like, offer. So for me, I've never liked that whole, you know, when players are off form, they just write them off and just say that they're rubbish. You know, back in the day, and I know I'm sounding like an old head here, but players when they were young were allowed to go through the ups and downs. Whereas now, it's like the moment they're a bit off form, it's just like, oh, sell him, get rid of him, he needs to be out the team. Like, blah. And then they come back on form and everyone just suddenly forgets again. Like, I don't like that. But it just goes to show where we're at today. But I think Rashford is a great example of what happens when you just allow players to just go through the ups and downs and come out on the other side, you know, better. Hopefully that they've learned and whatnot. So, you know, let's just be mindful of that. And Ten Hag is doing a good job. Ten Hag is doing a really, really good job at Man United, if I'm being totally honest. And the main thing, it's not just because they beat City, it's how they beat City, especially with... I'll tell a lie. So that first half, City didn't have the answers. Like, the way Man United had set up, they just locked it down. City couldn't do their passes through the middle. They couldn't even get down the wings. That everything was just locked down. And, you know, they played on the counter. Rashford had a couple chances, and And they dealt with City really, really well. And Haaland didn't have a sniff in the whole game and whatnot. But in that second half, I was a bit critical because Man City made the necessary adjustments where they would have overloads in the wide areas in the final third. And they created those overloads. And United didn't react to that. Which is why when you look at the decision, the goal, it makes it more of a massive thing because City were in control of that game. Up until that moment, City were in control of that game. That game changed everything, and suddenly United then go get the energy and push on, get that second goal, and win the game. But I'm definitely impressed with Ten Hag. I think in the short time that he's been there, he's given United some sort of identity. For years, they lacked any sort of identity. We always used to say that they're just vibes. They just want to wait for someone to come and do something and like individual brilliance. But right now, they're playing like a team. I think the fact that Luke Shaw is still playing left centre back, even when Martinez is fit, says a lot, in regards to his coaching and how he's got them playing, how he's got them playing. Varane's looking like Varane again. And also, honourable shout out to Wan-Bissaka. I'm so happy for Wan-Bissaka because people were putting dirt on his name. People were absolutely rubbishing him. And for me, Wan-Bissaka was a victim of poor coaching, poor direction, and playing in a poor team in his year, in the years where he's developing. In the most important years of his development, he's going through all of that. And now suddenly, a player gets his head down and he's actually being coached by a proper coach. All of a sudden, he's looking a different player. All of a sudden, he's looking like a player that is capable, a player that does have the potential. So, again, sometimes we just have to not be so quick to write players off and just say that they're rubbish and whatnot. And we need to actually, give them time to actually show what they can do and grow into their role or grow into their position and grow into the player that we know that they can become at times. So another example of what I was talking about, where we shouldn't just rub players out and everything. So honourable shout out to him. To be fair, Casemiro played well for like 15 minutes, if I'm being totally honest. I thought he was off it. In that match. But I think once they got the goal, he just became Casemiro again. And Rodri, such a good player, man. But yeah, man, it's interesting. This title race. Are United in the title race? I don't know. I don't know what this title race is doing. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what's going to happen. It's game by game. Next week, it's Arsenal versus Manchester United. We're going to see where Arsenal are really at. I really hope Arsenal give it to them and give it to them proper, because the one game we've lost this season, we shouldn't have lost. We shouldn't have lost that game. And it was naivety and poor game management, which resulted in us losing that game. And it's funny because when you watch that game, if you ever go and watch it back, it's so, the way we played and the way we even managed that game is so unlike every other game this season in regards to how quick we were to just go gung-ho. We strayed away from our identity. Yeah, it's just going to be an interesting game. Arsenal versus Manchester United next week Sunday. I'm going to go to that game and we're just going to see what can happen with that. But yeah, guys, you let me know what you think about United, what you think about Arsenal, what you think about the title race, what you think about City. Haaland, didn't get a sniff in that game, and they managed him really, really well. Yeah, just let me know what you think about that. And one thing I do want to mention. I want to talk about Fulham. Yes, Fulham lost to Newcastle. Mitrovic had a mare, missed that penalty or double touched that penalty, whatever. But I want to talk about Paulina, and shout out because I noticed him, but then calls him in the group chat. He's a big fan of him, so I decided to talk about him today. I think when you're playing for teams outside of the big four, big six, your performances tend to go unnoticed unless the actual supporters are watching. And every time I've watched Paulina, he just looks like a good player. Do you know what I mean? Like, he gets stuck in, but he can play, and he looks like there's levels that he can get to. So I just want to give an honourable shout out to him. I want to give a shout out to the job that Marco Silva is actually doing at Fulham as well. I think he's doing such a great job. Fulham right now, when I looked at the table, I'm seeing that they're like 6th or 7th. Like, what's going on there? Do you know what I mean? He's doing such a good job there, and yeah, I just wanted to talk about Paulina. I wanted to talk about oh my gosh, we're gonna get to Everton. I think in regards to how far Fulham can go, I think they'll drop off and finish mid-table. I think Europe's a bit of a stretch for them, but you know, you have to give them credit to the results that they're picking up. Midweek, they went and beat Chelsea and beat them convincingly again. So yeah, I've got nothing but praise for the job that Marco Silva's doing down there. Paulina's doing good. Tim Ream, I like him. I like him a lot. I like Tim Ream a lot. Who else on that team is I like Mitrovic. You know what? Harrison Reed. That guy is everywhere. And you know, in every team, you need a man like that. A man that is just on energy and running man down. Do you get what I'm saying? Running people down, running the opposition down. Harrison Reed is everywhere. Even against Newcastle today, he was everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. And honourable shout out to Reed as well. And, you know, he does not look out of place at all. And he's doing like a great job for Fulham this season. So I wanted to talk about them. It's not only the top teams. Oh my gosh, what's going on down at Everton? Listen, I'm hearing they're putting board members in headlocks. You know what I mean? Like, it's all going off down there. I don't know how much longer it can last for. Lampard is probably going to go. He won't walk, but I think they have to sack him soon, because some of the performances we're seeing now, it's beyond a joke, and they just look like they're just slowly just going downhill, and it's not even like they're just losing games, but still looking like Everton and they're a bit unlucky. They just look like there's no bite, there's no fight to them. And is that just a manager thing? The fans aren't unhappy with the board, they're unhappy with manager, they're unhappy with some of the players. But it's all going off down there. But amongst all of the chaos or whatnot, I want to talk about Damari Gray, because Everton aren't doing well at all. They're not playing well. They're not. Yeah, it's been a bit of a horror show for them. But Damari Gray is playing like someone that has pride. He's playing and showing the quality that we know he has. And I remember a couple of years ago, he actually liked it on Instagram. I said that, this is when he was at Leicester, I said it wouldn't surprise me if he was to play for a top 4 club. And I genuinely still believe that Damari Gray can go on and play for a top 4 club. You know what I mean? Like, and people might think I'm mad for saying that, but he's literally one of the few players that's going to leave this season, regardless how it ends, with his head held high. Him, Iwobi, who else in that Everton team? Nah, I can't really think of anyone else. So, honourable shout out to Damari Gray, honourable shout out to Iwobi. But yeah, I don't know what else there is to talk about. Liverpool. Oh my gosh, Liverpool got absolutely moved to. And I never like to talk about managers getting the sack and whatever. I don't think, but all this talk about Klopp needing to go, I don't think he needs to go. I think just for the mere fact of everything he's done, he deserves the time. I don't think it's bad enough where we need to start talking about, oh yeah, Klopp needs to go and blah, 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 blah. I think that's very reactionary. I think you have to look at all things involved. I think when teams are on top, there comes a period where you got to recycle, you got to reshuffle the pack. So all of this talk about Klopp needing to go, I think you need to add context to that. I think you need to look at the injuries. You need to look at some of the players that need to be changed. You need to look at some of the players that have gone, the players that haven't come in. You need to look at the fact that there's young players coming through. So all of these things being, included, and the fact that he's done so much, you have to just give him the time for me. I think if they were to sack him, that would be a very, very poor decision. So yes, they're not playing anywhere near the Liverpool that we've come to know of late, but also, I do believe that, let the season play out and then start afresh, because I do believe that he has something planned for next season, when players are back with the transfers and whatnot. But let's not just be so reactionary, because Chelsea were like that. Got rid of Tuchel so quickly. And Potter's in now, and now a lot of Chelsea fans are wishing that Tuchel was back. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's stop all that. And last thing I want to talk about, Joao Felix, yeah. Obviously, Joao Felix, there was a lot of banter. There was a lot of banter going around about Joao Felix because obviously he got sent off on his debut and whatnot. But listen, I always say I'm going to put the tweet up, but I really want, hopefully I remember to put the tweet up of when I said it. But Joao Felix, yeah, he is a different kind of player. And even though he got sent off on his debut, if you're telling me you did not see enough of Joao Felix in the moments where he did play, in the short time he played, if you're saying you didn't see enough of Joao Felix, I don't know what you're watching, because he is an absolute baller. And it's funny because you can see he's levels above. I'm not even going to name other players, but sometimes he's doing stuff on that pitch and certain players on that team aren't on his wavelength. Do you get what I'm saying? He's different stock. He's actually different stock. So I just wanted to say that Chelsea have got a good buy there, and it's going to be interesting to see when he finally comes back, how he settles in, and and I think for 6 months, it's a 6-month loan, so I think we need to 11 million for a 6-month loan is a lot of money. Is a lot of money, which is probably why Arsenal didn't get him. But what I hope happens, I hope he absolutely smashes it. Chelsea don't do well, but he absolutely smashes it, and then Arsenal pick him up in the summer. That would be ideal, and that would be excellent. So that's it from me, man. Is there anything I'm forgetting, guys? If so, put in the comments. I'm going to try and get another pod out to you this week. We're slowly approaching 200, episode 200. So when we approach episode 200, we're going to have a guest. I don't know who that guest's going to be. I need to work that out, but we're slowly approaching it. And let me know in the comments. Again, guys, make sure you check out the Son of the Soil documentary. It's out on this YouTube channel. If you're listening to this audio, it's out on Counter Attack Podcast YouTube. Just search Son of the Soil Counter Attack and you will see it. It's my documentary. I put a lot of work into it, a lot of time. I spent a lot of money on it. Just go there and let me know what you think. It's on this channel, and keep sharing it. And I want you lot to be honest with me. And I just really, I'm happy that I finally dropped it. I'm trying to give you more content like this. So yeah, just go check it out, guys. And I don't want to be pigeonholed into just a podcast. I want you to actually see what I can really offer you guys. So keep liking, subscribing, sharing. Share the documentary. Go on Son of the Soil doc, or I'm going to put it in the bio. The Instagram handle, my Instagram, engage, hashtag Counterattack Podcast on Twitter. Let me know your thoughts, engage in the podcast. And guys, that's it from me, man. I'm out.